Many of the doctors that I was watching when I first started keto have now been talking about doing more and more carnivore days. And it made me start to wonder, made us wonder, like, is there something to this? So
Hmm.
the last few weeks, a month actually, we've been eating carnivore. And today we're going to talk about some of the stuff we found. And is it really the best idea for everybody to be carnivore? We're going to get to that by the end of the video. Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. Pat Chat Edition. I'm Violet.
And I'm Pat. So yeah, a month carnivore. What actually were you expecting at the beginning of that journey? What were your expectations? Why did you go carnivore?
Well, I went carnivore to test some ideas
Mm-hmm.
because being someone who can't eat organ meats
Mm-hmm.
because of iron issues that I have, having thalassemia, I was kind of wondering, could I really get all the micronutrients that I need from eating eggs without having the veg on my plate?
But you're saying like you don't eat organ meats. That's true, but like on top of that, you don't eat red meats. Like there's a like in the meat department, you're somewhat limited. That what made maybe that challenge more interesting.
It's interesting, but not hard.
That's
So
hard.
I'm
Okay.
used to not eating red meats. I just don't eat them because whenever I eat them, I feel ill.
Hmm.
So it's not like it was hard to do. It was more a matter of me walking through what would happen if I, for example, don't get the micronutrients. Like, first, how would I know? Second, what would I do about it?
Hmm.
So, and the question is it really that eating eggs is enough?
So for me, like it was when we started that challenge the night before. We were watching a video of Dr. Berry, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's the time to try it." And yeah, we jumped in like just the day after. So how do you feel after a month?
I feel similar.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that I want to put out there for anybody who's new to the channel to understand that when I started carnivore, the months beforehand, which is what made me think maybe I should try it, I'd already been eating 4-ish days per week that I was only having the meat. So it wasn't a hard stretch, it wasn't a big stretch. It wasn't like I'm that lazy. I don't like cooking. And so just making meat and just eating meat and not having to worry about washing, cooking vegetables, washing salad, like I mean, yeah, I'm that lazy.
Yeah,
Like it's really just it's so
I think
simple to
you're
just throw a
adding
piece of meat.
olives. Yeah, olives with like your meat most of the time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, not
olives and cheese.
not always
So
though. That's the thing is
okay,
even sometimes I wouldn't bother with the olives. That's what I'm saying. Like
okay,
about 4 of my days in the week could really be just I ate some meat.
okay.
So how did I feel? I feel fine.
Hmm.
Now, not to say that things haven't changed, but for the most part, I feel fine. Interestingly, I found I sleep a little better,
Okay.
in my opinion, and not just in my opinion, according to my sleep tracker. I'm sleeping better. I'm getting more periods of time that are longer
Deep sleep. Okay.
with these sleep. So
Deep sleep.
that's interesting to me, and I wasn't expecting that. Maybe it's part of me thinks it's because you're not digesting food for as long. Because I mean, I do eat later in the evening, around 8 o'clock usually. I also find that when I'm tired, I'm tired. Like so, it's one of those. Usually, I can kind of putter around and be awake until like I finally go lay down, and then when I lay down, I fall asleep because I was tired. But now I find like I'll be like fine, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, "Ooh, I'm tired," and I
Okay.
want to go to bed, which I think is good for me because I'm one of those people that I can just putter around until next thing you know it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and what am I still doing awake? I'm actually kind of curious. How did you find being carnivore?
Actually, pretty good. Um, I feel like I got rid of my craving for nuts. I haven't eaten nuts in the whole month, and I don't miss them. I was more the kind though that I was kind of forcing myself to eat the vegetables, the little vegetables that I was having, like avocados. I was still thinking they were required in a keto diet, and end up not missing them at all. So that's pretty good. I do feel better, so less gurgly stomach and less gassy and like everything like is fine, and surprisingly much less hungry, much like very like sometimes even on a day, maybe I ate too much meat, maybe like that's why that's what maybe I'm still trying to gauge how much meat I need like to be hungry the day after. So maybe at the beginning I was eating too much meat because I wanted to try stuff and like try new kind of meat and the organ
Okay.
meats. Even if I was maybe overeating meat, I still felt good. But all the cravings for nuts, yogurt. I was having a little bit of yogurt, but not that much.
You're saying
Yeah.
before, not during your
No,
carnivore.
during my carnivore, my full fat yogurt was like
Okay, you
an
were having?
animal. Yeah, a
Okay.
little bit, but like not as often as because the thing is like after the meat and some cheese and eggs, I'm just not hungry anymore. So even the thing that I was maybe craving as a little snack after the main meal, like we're not there. So
Actually,
so
it's funny
pretty
because
good.
you talked about cravings, and it didn't even dawn on me like
Mm,
to talk about that. But it's true. Like in my month, where I shouldn't say normally, but once in
mm,
a while, I would have that like, oh, I want some nuts, especially if I had a stressful day.
mm.
I would want to have
Okay.
some nuts. Interestingly, this past month has been quite stressful. I haven't wanted any nuts. So that's actually cool. I did not miss the vegetation at all, but I mean, I was barely eating it to begin with.
Mm.
So,
Maybe the salad. We talked about maybe the salad, the Caesar, a good Caesar salad,
yeah.
a good Caesar salad.
Like you made salad for the kids during the
Mm,
time that we
yeah.
were carnivore. So, miss it is a big word. I
Mm,
didn't miss it. I mean, like, will I, when I do have it again, I'm saying when I do, because
mm,
I have the feeling I will have a Caesar salad at some point in time. I think I'm gonna like it. I mean, like this is me now predicting that I think I'm
mm,
gonna like having a salad again, but mostly because I won't be the one making it. Because I really cannot see myself going back to the scenario where I'm making
mm.
vegetation for myself. Like
Okay.
this is part of what's interesting here is that I just like not
Mm,
making
the veg.
vegetation.
Mm,
Like cooking meat is so easy. I throw something in the oven. I don't have to pay much attention to it. My
mm,
watch goes off, I turn it over.
mm,
And then I don't have to pay attention to it again, and then my watch goes off and I go get the
yeah.
food. No matter what veg I make, I have to do stuff to it. I have
Mm-hmm.
to, I mean, even just counting how many
Mm,
olives I find annoying. So I feel like there's a lot here where I like this idea of not having to be that involved in the kitchen.
yeah, yeah. The other
And
day,
and if you're coming over to cook, maybe I'll eat the
yeah.
stuff. But I mean, that's always been our story.
Yeah. The other day I was like I had my boys at home and I was like, oh yeah, I need to make them salad or something. I was like, not it was not on my my radar at all, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to add like 10-15 minutes to like wash lettuce and to make them salad. So, but even I try not to have like too big of an impact on them, but like in the past month it has been a lot of like cucumbers and little baby tomatoes for them. I put them in a plate, like give that to them, and they're fine with that. But like it's less elaborate, but at the same time like they didn't care much about cooked broccoli or
Mm.
so I think the raw vegetables for what they have, like they're fine with it.
You
Yeah,
guys have always been very raw
yeah.
vegetable oriented. My daughter is the one that likes cooked
Mm.
vegetables, but that's just again Caribbean way of life. So that's how we
Mm-hmm.
make our vegetables. So I do feel like this is a relief off of both
Mm.
of our plates. I'll be honest with you. My daughter is very happy to just have meat. She's such a lazy eater,
Mm.
but if I give her the choice, meat versus some kind of vegetation, she'll eat the vegetation, leave the meat behind. So if I really just want her to eat the healthier
Mm.
thing, I just throw some meat at her and she's be okay.
Okay.
But I think all three of our kids have shown us that we don't need to put that much thought into the food that we're
Mm.
we're doing, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's actually been kind of a cool revelation too. I think over the past month,
Any
zero
new
complaints.
yeah. Any new foods you managed to introduce or you tried or
I've been eating more eggs, although I question if I
okay.
need to eat more.
But you have it every day, every meal.
Almost.
Almost every
Almost
meal.
every
Okay.
meal I was having eggs. But the problem that I've come across is that so my roadblock is cramps.
Hmm.
So I feel like I'm still not figuring out all the micronutrients. So I'm not
So
sure if I'm eating enough eggs. I've heard,
you still adding salt though to your maybe you don't like
well, I salt my meat rather. I
okay.
mean, you've had meat
Yeah.
that I make. I salt my meat rather well.
Okay.
So like I don't think it's a lack of salt. And there's a part of me that's wondering, micronutrient wise, like what else could I do? So this is a question mark, and a part of the reason I want to go forward in the next month and continue to see
Mm.
like how does this continue to, what kind of impact do I end up
Mm.
having after a second month
Okay.
of eating carnivore with eggs. However, my plan is to add a third egg. So I
Okay.
usually have 2 eggs every day
Yeah. You
or
tried
whenever I have eggs.
once I cooked the fish, you didn't like it was
Oh, that's right.
okay.
I did try
Like you
fish.
tried fish, you tried rabbit, like a piece of rabbit that like I
I
did.
actually ate the rabbit, so
Yeah,
that
so
was
there was.
surprising. It doesn't
Mm,
taste just like chicken. It's kind of bit it's a bit more
it's a
gamey than
different, yeah,
chicken, but it's still, I mean, it was
not bad.
edible, I guess
I
is the
know.
word I would go. No, no, but it wasn't bad. It
But
wasn't bad.
especially the fish, I was
I
surprised. The
think
fish, you didn't like it. We could, I wouldn't go there, but like,
no, I would say I preferred the fish to the rabbit though. But
oh,
only
okay,
because
that's
I think the
surprising.
spices on the rabbit were not my style.
Okay.
They were not
But
strong
I
enough.
think I didn't put any spices on the rabbit. That because even for me, it was the first time I bought one rabbit. I think I never bought a rabbit. Maybe I had it in a restaurant like when I was younger, but like I didn't put any spice on it, just like to taste the meat.
Yeah, I would
So
never think to do that.
uh, yeah, but they need like you kind
Yeah.
of need to know what it tastes before putting something on it. So
Yeah. So
so that's why
maybe in
maybe.
round two of
Mm,
rabbit, I might like it better. Like now
mm-hmm.
that you know what it tastes like. But I'd like I felt it was a little bit underspiced for my liking,
Okay.
and also like I felt like it was sort of like chicken breast in a sense that it was a drier or like yeah like a drier meat. I'm not sure how we would solve that part,
Okay.
but to me yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was a bit not having the same restriction as you. The first time I went to the grocery store, like with my mindset on meat, it was like a kid in a candy store. Basically, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that. So the first grocery that I had that I brought home was like huge, a ton of meat. Um, I did try new things. So the organ meats, I didn't buy them often. Although, like when once in a while, I had liver and I liked it. So I tried the beef liver. I tried the chicken liver. I tried chicken hearts. Even that was like very surprising, surprisingly tasty and not as tasty as liver and chewiness, interesting chewiness, I would say. What else did I try? I tried a rabbit. I bought a rabbit. Oh, you also tried the duck that I did also without any spices on the duck.
I'm confused. It was the
The
duck
duck
that
that
I
you did,
thought was a
yeah,
bit dry. You're right.
yeah.
I was confused.
But maybe the rabbit I did put some spice. You're right. But the duck was more like turkey-ish, but drier.
I don't
Anyway,
like
yeah,
turkey either, so
maybe I did overcook it or something. Like it was not the best duck I've ever had. And like for sure, like I do like beef, so there was many different cuts of beef that I was having, like a steak with piece of cheese and eggs on top. This became one of my favorite meal actually. So the variety is there for me. Like there was no issue there at all.
I didn't have an issue with variety either.
Hmm.
It was to me simple to do.
Okay.
I think the one thing that I will say, just adding to that whole thing, is I do think I need to maybe have more eggs, or I might try to figure out like of the organ meats, which one has the least amount of
Okay.
iron,
Hmm.
and then see if I can add one of those to get the other nutrients. So that's something I was also thinking about. I know that Dr. Barry talked about pork liver
Oh,
being very nutrient dense, but
okay.
I'm afraid that means it also has a lot of iron. But I have to double check. I haven't
Oh.
checked yet because pork is one of the meats I can eat. So
Hmm.
maybe I will get lucky and it'll be
Okay.
lower in
Yeah.
iron
Yeah.
content.
I forgot two things. Like I tried the pork kidneys. That didn't like that much. They were not actually surprisingly. They were not that tasty. I think it was more the texture that I didn't like, and the chicken gizzard. They were there. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try that. But that's the thing. Like I do buy the organ meats and do my research after, so I wasn't even sure what it
How to
was
cook it?
like and how to cook it. But like I did cook it with the chicken hearts and like did like something all in the same frying pan. But in the end, it was too like the texture was almost like apple-y, like really the texture of a fruit more than meat. So I think that's what like kind of put me off a little bit. So anything like you'd say you really missed during that month?
I
Miss
thought I
eating?
was gonna miss lettuce and I should say Caesar salad,
Caesar salad?
and I thought I was gonna miss my avocado, but I
Your
didn't
marathon
actually.
your marathon
Yeah.
salad? The
No,
salad from not even that?
not
Okay.
even. No, honestly, I mean, because I can eat all the cheeses that I want, I'm actually doing pretty okay.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you missed?
I think the salad. I think it's the only thing the salad that I can say I miss, but will I go will I go make the extra effort to make myself one? I'm not even sure. Like if we do like our favorite restaurant, go eat there and like I'm gonna eat the salad. I think I'm gonna eat the salad, but that's every like probably once a month. But yeah, but it's gonna be interesting though, like to see how I feel after I eat that salad. If I'm more like gassy and everything, like maybe like I'm gonna realize that finally it doesn't like it's not worth it.
One of the things
Um,
that I want to do is wait. So I feel like a month isn't long enough for me to know when well, I don't know, maybe it is long enough, but I feel like a month might not be long enough for me to like reintroduce veg and have a
yeah.
reaction if there is one to be had.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually going to try to push forward another month
Mm.
and see like push forward like it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, when you told me that it was time to make the video, I was like, already? But I'm going to go through it forward another month, because I want to see for sure, like when I
Mm.
do reintroduce veg, how do I end up feeling? And the other thing that I'm probably going to do is introduce like my each of my vegetables that I am used to eating one at a time. So
Mm.
I'm going to do olives and cheese one night, and then I'll do wait a whole week before I do like avocado and cheese, and then wait a whole week before I have a Caesar salad. Like I'm going to have each of them
Mm.
one time in the week and see like whether physiological repercussions.
Mm.
But I want to go one more month
Okay.
of carnivore
No,
before
okay.
I do that. I
Okay.
think that's going to be the best way to do it.
Surprisingly enough, we were able twice. Our every other week restaurant still stayed. Our Korean barbecue, one of our favorite place. We went there. We didn't touch like all the sides that are there, like mostly vegetables. We just like ordered our meat and cooked our meat and ate our meat like that. Um,
It was still tasty.
and it was tasty, and we didn't like the sides were there, and like yeah, they didn't even bother us, so that was good. The other one is our favorite Greek place where like we made a video in the past like with pictures of that pound of meat. We just had the meat
And we had cheese.
and the cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was so even when you're carnivore, it's possible to go to restaurants. At the
One of the reasons that I wanted to just ask you about, like, did you miss anything, was because I wanted to make a point here. Because you said you thought one thing maybe a little bit salad, but I'm pointing it out because I was already doing very little veg, but you were eating veg every single day,
hmm
and you were eating a good amount of veg. It wasn't like you were having a little teeny side. You were having a good amount of veg. The one thing I want to point out to all you wellness warriors who keep saying, I can't put it down, I can't put it down. Honestly, Pat, would you say that if you hadn't done this challenge this entire past month, you would have been eating just as much veg as you always had been?
Oh, sure.
That's my
Yeah,
point. Though,
of
that's
course.
my point.
Mm.
We're not going to be able to put down the things that are bad for us as long as we keep allowing ourselves to pick them up.
Mm.
So I'm not talking specifically about vegetables now. I'm
Mhm.
talking about everything. All the
Yeah.
people who do keto but still make cookies and keto treats and
Mm.
still allow once in a while to have ice cream or real cookies, or
Mm.
all the people that say, oh, but it's okay because it's once in a while. The truth is, had you not done this month, you would have spent another month at 150 grams of carbs.
Mhm.
And instead, you did a month of almost none.
Mm. Yeah.
I want everybody to pay attention to that, because if there's anything to take away from today, it's that when you put yourself in a position to do something successfully, you will do it
Oh,
successfully.
yeah, sure.
If you give yourself reasons and excuses, you will pick up those reasons and
Mhm.
excuses and run with them. Now, one thing I didn't remember that was a negative that I just came
Yeah.
back to me right now is 2 or 3 times I had headache. I'm not sure if the headache was related to the
Mm.
very stressful month that I had with work, or if it was being carnivore. So that's another reason I want to push forward another
Mhm.
month. Would I say that every single person on the planet should be carnivore?
No.
I really can't say that.
Yeah.
Do I think that if you struggle with keeping your carbs under 20, that going carnivore is a great way to put yourself in a position where you're not chasing? That I do say.
Mm.
I'm super curious because I know that I'm going for it another month, but as far as I
Mhm.
understand, like you're not necessarily going for it another month. So I'm going to be very interested to see
Mm.
in the next month, how well are you at keeping under 20 now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm gonna be better because, like I said, I'm not gonna go like I'm not gonna put the extra effort to make myself vegetables. Like since the my boys didn't care much about like the broccoli I was buying, like I'm gonna buy them vegetables that are good for them, like the baby carrots, the baby tomatoes, the cucumbers, but those I don't care having. For sure, I'm gonna be like probably 80-90% of the time like doing a carnivore, and the occasional like restaurant where there's a salad, or if you go to our barbecue place, not even like the barbecue place, even the vegetable didn't bug me that much. I'll see next time, but like it's gonna be like once every other week that we go to restaurants.
Yeah. So for me,
So
moving forward, it's problem solving the headaches and
mm,
the cramps.
yeah,
And for you, it's
the
going to
other
be interesting to see where you end up
yeah,
falling.
the energy level, like you were talking like to
Oh
me
my
about
gosh,
the
I feel
energy
like my
level a little
energy
bit.
level
Like
is good.
okay,
I feel like for the so it's a tricky thing. I feel like when I'm good, I'm good, but then when I'm tired,
yeah,
I'm tired. Again, I'm not sure if that's transitioning or what that's about. So like, these are all things. That's why I want to go another month. I
okay,
want to try to improve
yeah,
on my micronutrients, and I want to try to improve my micronutrients through food. I don't want to buy supplements. I want to try to figure out like what do I need to eat so that the
mm,
cramps go away, so that if the headaches are related to that
yeah,
and not related to the pressure I was under, that goes
okay,
away. And I want to make sure that like is there an organ meat that I can eat that doesn't have a
okay.
lot of iron? So I have to do more research.
Hmm. I think for me, the most positive realization is that maybe to realize I don't need those vegetables that I was forcing myself to eat. So that's a good thing. How about the weight?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so here we go again. We are so focused on health, we almost forgot to talk
To
about
talk
our
about
weight.
weight.
That is
For sure, it's
hilarious.
gonna be a question
You
from
know,
the viewers.
so for me, my goal was to not lose.
Yeah.
I lost a grand total of 1 pound, and that happened week
Okay.
one.
Because you weigh in every
I
Monday,
weigh in every
so
Monday.
4 times for that
So I've weighed in.
challenge.
Well, I mean, I
Okay.
haven't weighed in yet because it's Sunday, so I
Yeah.
didn't weigh in tomorrow, but I
Mm.
still feel the same. So I'm assuming I didn't lose anything else. That was good because I was trying to maintain, and I maintained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, actually, was stable too. Surprisingly, I thought I would be losing more. So that's why, like just earlier, I was saying maybe I need to adjust my the quantity of meat I'm having. But you see, like yesterday, I think yesterday in the afternoon, I did weigh in and I was down 3. So let's see if it can stay like down 3. But it's kind of like tomorrow I can like weigh in and I'm gonna be up 2. So like it's stable, surprisingly enough.
One of the things I think we have to keep in mind, though, and this is what I always tell people to think about, because you were eating so healthy, even though you were
Hmm.
still eating over the carb number,
Yeah.
there's a possibility that your body needed to make some repairs more so than help you lose
Yeah.
weight. And so the
Good.
focus could have been on this month because you're still doing one meal a day.
Mhm.
Your body could have just been focusing on cleaning up some stuff
Yeah.
that needs to be cleaned up, which is always the other thing I ask people think about when you're saying you're stalled.
Hmm.
Are you really stalled, or is your body doing internal cleanup?
No. Yeah.
That's much more important than you losing a pound or two.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention though, is like if like for the people following us, like I'm kind of prone to gout flares,
To
and
what? To gout
to
flares.
gout flares. Yeah. And I was like going into that challenge. There's a lot of still a lot of doctors that kind of blame gout flares
Red meat.
on red meat and purines and stuff like that. So I was like, and purines are even higher in organ meats, and I had a bit more organ meats like
You had a
in
lot
during
of organ meats,
yeah
actually.
in the last month. So but a lot, yeah, I was trying to have it every two, well, when I was going to the store buying it, I
Yeah.
had it for a few days. So
I mean,
not on a daily
compared to your
basis, man.
history of having
Yeah,
none,
yeah.
you had a
and
month of having them, and
happy to report nothing,
no
nothing at
gout
all.
flares.
No gout flares, not even a little sensitivity in the toe, or like everything is fine. So
I
so
love that that's the answer, because
yeah,
there's the answer that I was saying. Even when you told me
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
it, I was saying like that doesn't make any sense, and I'm glad
I
that
know,
you're
yeah.
able to show that it makes no
Okay,
sense.
so
So drinking
drinking,
and excessive
yeah,
carbohydrates are much more
probably,
likely to
yeah,
cause gout
sure,
than eating red
yeah.
meats. But again, don't take my word for it. There are lots of doctors out there talking about this, and they've said the same thing. So I'm
Mm,
just glad that our N of one
mm.
has shown it to be true, because you don't even have to
And
drink much and you'll
no,
get a
yeah,
gout flare. So that I'm
yeah.
glad that you were able to show that.
And I do eat a lot of beef too, so and there was no issue
Yeah,
whatsoever.
that's terrific. I'm
So
so happy.
good, yeah,
I think the other terrific thing that came out of this is neither of us found going from keto to carnivore hard.
yeah,
Um, well, I mean, lazy. So that was super
yeah,
easy
yeah.
for me. But I think even you that likes to cook, you still didn't mind.
yeah, you put the effort on the meat, on the eggs, on flavoring, on cooking, on barbecuing, and not the vegetables. The other surprising and very positive things out of that is that it's not as restrictive. Like when you talk to people, you're carnivore, you're just eating meat, but you know how many different kind of meats there
Just
in
yeah.
the in the grocery store, like in the meat aisle. So yeah, just like recently I went on a cinq à sept with my colleagues, and they were, you eat just meat, and you're like, oh, I could never do that, I need my fruits. Like again, it's like it always comes down to fruits. But yeah, the variety of the meat you have, like, and the cheese, you can try many cheese, and like, so there's no real issue there.
I mean, it's not hard.
Hmm.
Lots of energy. Feel less hungry.
Yeah.
So many things to eat. I mean, neither of us felt restricted.
No. Yeah.
If you guys want to try it, just make sure you do it in a healthy way. Make sure that you're trying to get all your micronutrients. I think that's the thing that
Hmm.
for me, like the one takeaway that's still standing out for me is like you figured just no cramps on your side, no
No.
no issues. I'm the one having, but I'm the one with
Mm.
the restriction of not being able to eat organ meat. So I'm going to work a little harder. Hopefully next month, check in. I'm going to have
Mhm.
something else to tell you guys. There's some videos on the screen right there. They're going to help you to improve your health
Mhm.
and get that mindset towards maintaining that good health long into the future. Wellness Warriors, always so happy that you come back. Everybody who's new, welcome.
Yeah. And share the video.
Like,
All
subscribe,
right.
do all the things.
Hmm.
I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition.
Talk to you next week.
I can't wait to talk to you next week.